I've been drawing since as long as I can remember. Since I could first pick up a pencil, I've been drawing. Um, my mum actually used to let me draw on the walls when I was a kid in my room, so that was really cool for me. And I was always drawing on myself and everything in school, so even without knowing really what tattoos were or anything, I've always been into that, having stuff on my skin. And I remember everyone used to say, "You're going to get lead poisoning." I've always loved Pokemon. I'm not really too sure why, it's just something that I've always loved. I still play it now. It was kind of an obsession for me as a kid. I was always looking for different bags and stuff with Pokemon on it. Just something that I've always been into. And it's funny because not so long ago I just asked my mum, like, did you think I'd be 25 and still playing Pokemon? And she was like, no. When I was about 14, it was my birthday, and so I was 14, and I had a couple of friends over, and we had a bouncy castle, and I just noticed for the first time really how different I looked to the other girls that were there, and that's all I could think of for the whole party. I couldn't really enjoy myself. I was just thinking about how much I hated myself, and why didn't I look like them, and why couldn't I just be normal? And it came into my head that I just wanted to hurt myself, even though I had never really thought about something like that before. And I kind of couldn't wait for the party to end because I just wanted to hurt myself, which a lot of people wouldn't really understand, and I don't really understand it myself, but that's all I was thinking about for like the whole day. And when the first time I did it, I didn't have anything to hand, and I knew I just wanted to hurt myself, so it was a blunt scissors that I used first, and it was just the quickest place I could get, which happened to be my forearm. So that's how I started off. It was just, I didn't even want to bleed or have marks or anything like that. I didn't think about how I was going to feel afterwards. I just wanted to hurt in that moment. So the scissors was the first thing I had, and I didn't really actually bleed that much from that, and I think that made it easier for me to hide the fact that I was hurting myself. But as time went on, I was looking for worse things to do, so I was getting pencil sharpeners and opening them up and taking the blades out of those, and anything I could get my hands on really. There was no really relief or anything there. It was more so, I was just so angry and I wanted to take it out on something. And obviously I'm not the type of person to be angry at other people, or I didn't know how to channel that anger into anything. And it was very, very angry, just a horrible experience really now that I think back on it. I really just didn't know where else to put my anger, so I just took it out on myself. And after the first time I was kind of addicted to the feeling of it, and I just thought about it a lot. Even in school, I was thinking about when I was going to go home and do it. It was on my mind a lot. I didn't really get bullied in primary school or anything. I think it was going into secondary school, and like I said, not really growing up and not fitting in with other people. And everyone was getting into makeup and boys and stuff like that, and I was still going home playing video games. And other people really worry too much about what everyone else is doing, and I don't really know why everyone else was so affected by what I was doing. I was happy enough until other people started pointing out that it was weird that I was still acting like a kid. So that's kind of where it started for me. I never really associated drawing and harming myself with the same kind of thing. So when I got a bit older, I used drawing more as an outlet of when I was trying not to hurt myself. But most of the time, if I really wanted to hurt myself, I would just do it. It wasn't like, oh, maybe I can draw to get rid of this feeling. So drawing was more, I liked the process of drawing, and it makes me calm. But self-harming, I didn't want to be calm. I wanted to be angry. I wanted to get the anger out. I'm just drawing a bat. There's no particular meaning behind it. I just thought he was kind of cute. Definitely it gets better. Like, you never think it'll get better, and you think the worst things, and you think nobody would care if you were gone, but there's always going to be someone that's going to care if you're gone. And when you get out of that situation or get out of those feelings, you start to realise that people do care, and everyone's going to obviously put themselves first because it's their life, but they do care about you, and they would care if you were gone. After a while, when I got a bit older, I realised that I really wanted to get into tattooing, and I got my first tattoo at 16 years old, and at the time I was just delighted that I had a tattoo. But then I started realising that there was a connection between getting tattooed and self-harming. It was almost like it was a better way of getting that feeling out, but with something pretty on your skin at the end of it, and obviously no chance of anyone being like, oh, she has scars on her, because it's art at the end of the day. And that very slowly stopped me from harming myself, and instead waiting and getting a tattoo maybe once a year or twice a year. It's actually quite a similar pain, getting tattooed and self-harming. It's just a dull, kind of sharp pain. Sometimes it's not that painful, but there's that feeling of almost release there. And that's why I definitely, if someone's recovering from self-harm, I would probably advise them against it, even though that's what I did. I think if you're recovering and you have the chance that you're going to slip back into it because you remember what it feels like, then you probably should avoid tattoos for a little while until you feel like you're at that stage where it's not going to bring back all those horrible feelings and make you want to go and harm yourself again. And when I was just going through a difficult time, I used to write the word breathe on my wrist, and then I thought it would be nice to have it permanently on my hand. So when I realised that I wanted to get into tattooing, I was really eager to do it as soon as possible. I even would have left school to do it, except that opportunity didn't come up. I was still in school when I got my first apprenticeship, but it was just weekend work, and the guy that was letting me work with him, he wasn't a great artist, and some of his customers saw my work and they were really impressed, and they offered to pay me to draw their tattoo for them, and the guy would tattoo it himself. And he really didn't like the fact that people offered to pay me for my drawings, and I went in one day to work as usual, and he said that he just didn't want me back. And obviously that really hurt, because I didn't realise at the time that it was kind of jealousy that made him do that. I thought I wasn't good enough and I wasn't going to get another apprenticeship, and it was the end of the world basically. It definitely brought back feelings of wanting to do it again. I was still self-harming on and off up until I was about 22. So at this point I was quite low, and I thought that I was not good enough for what I wanted to do, and that really brought me down, and I was blaming myself for it. And obviously at the time I didn't know how to express that, and I went back to self-harming because I just thought I wasn't good enough for anywhere. I wasn't going to get my dream job, and I took it out on myself. Last week some people from a shop in Dublin contacted me and said they'd seen my work and they saw a lot of potential in it, and did I want to come up and do a trial day with those. And that obviously made me really excited because they contacted me, and I went up for the trial day and it was brilliant, and I had a great time, and they were great artists, but the commute was just too much. It's too far away and I couldn't afford it. Again, another step in my journey that was setting me back. But luckily there is a place in Kildare in Athy, and she offered me a place with her, and that's much easier for me to get to, and she's a really nice person, and I'm really excited to go there and actually have clients and stuff, so that's a positive for me anyway. I'm much happier in this shop because if you're having a bad day or whatever, you can just come in and chill out with people. It's like hanging out with friends. Like, obviously you're getting your work done as well, but I have a tattoo in later today and I'm not sure which kind of font she wants yet, so I just have 3 different types, and then once she decides which one she wants, I'll make the stencil and we'll change the size to fit her body. Oh yeah, it's quite a twitchy area. I find that the twitching's worse than the pain, like.
Okay, hurry.
I don't know, it's a better environment that I'm in now because it's great crack, and Steph is great crack. So here, where'd she go? I don't know what to say.